Congratulations to Dennis Marshall, one of the newest members of the Richland Center High School Wrestling Hall of Honor. Congratulations, Denny, a well-deserved award.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it very much. It's quite an honor, and there's a lot of good wrestlers in that program right now. So.
When you think back to your time in high school, wrestling was an important part of it, wasn't it?
Yes, actually it was. It was a sport I was most dedicated to. I mean, I liked football and I liked track, but I knew my best chance because of my size and that was probably in wrestling. So, I mean, I had stuff on the walls in my bedroom that would fire me up and keep me going because it's a long season, 4 months. So, yeah, it was definitely my best sport, you know. And I went on and wrestled in college because I did like it, so.
Does your brain recall the memories and the smells of the little gym at Richland Center High School?
Yeah, that, and then also we had over 100 kids out for wrestling, so, you know, the smells were pretty strong probably. And then, I mean, we had so many wrestlers that we had to use the lunchroom, including the stage and the small gym. And, you know, that's part of the reason Richland Center was so good was all the competition that they had. It's pretty amazing, actually.
When you think back to your time wrestling at Richland Center, is there a memory that you especially are proud of, Denny?
Yeah, I wrestled Bill Thompson, who used to live in Richland Center. His dad was a boxer with my dad, and he moved to Madison, and he wrestled for Madison La Follette, and we ended up being at the same weight, and I had to wrestle him twice that year. And it was kind of funny because the first match, I guess he kind of thought maybe we were going to slack off and not. It was in the Richland Center Invitational. And to me, it was all business. So I beat him. Well, then he was kind of mad. So then I went down to the Madison Invitational, and I met him down there. And I went out on the mat, and it wasn't 2 seconds. I was laying on my back counting lights, and I thought, oh, my gosh, I'm on my back. I did come back and end up beating him in overtime. Well, he ended up taking third in state. And he said, I've run into him several times, and he says the thing that bothers him the most that he never beat me. He almost would have rather done that than get third in state. So it sticks in my memory, yeah.
I think about the wrestle-offs you guys used to have. Those were brutal in those days, weren't they?
Yeah, especially, like I said, when you have 100 wrestlers and you got, I believe at that time we had 11 positions, you're talking 6 to 7 guys at every weight class. So if you weren't on top of your game every day, you're going to lose your spot on the thing. And, you know, I wrestled 2 years on junior varsity, and I think we had that streak of no losses. If anybody would have got hurt on the varsity, there was not a big gap between the JV guy coming up and wrestling in that spot. I mean, it just shows the tradition that we had and how popular the sport was back then.
What was the most valuable lesson that you took away from wrestling? Just thinking about the things you've done in life, the lessons that you learned, the work you had to do, Denny.
Well, I think it's definitely the dedication. It's not a sport that you can do if you're not dedicated. I mean, if you want to be good at it, you're going to have to be dedicated. And it's a long season. It's 4 months. And, you know, you're pretty fired up, and it's pretty exciting for the first 2 months. When it starts getting back down to that 4th month, you're starting to drag a little bit, and you really got to – it's hard to fire up. But that's probably the best thing, discipline. And I think that carries over into the rest of your life. Losing weight is while you're working that hard is tough. So I think it's totally the discipline and dedication you have to it. And I think if you do that for 4 years and you do it 4 months out of the year, that's naturally, I think, going to carry over the rest of your life. It's kind of built into your DNA at that point, you know.
Well, tell us about the things that you've done in life since, Denny, and the things that you've enjoyed.
Well, after I went to school out here at the Richland campus for 2 years, and I wrestled under Terry Lenander, and he was an excellent coach, and we had a very good team because a lot of the kids from our high school team came out here, and then we picked up a lot of good wrestlers from other local towns some of their better wrestlers. So we actually wrestled UW Junior Varsity. They came out here, and we beat them. And their coach came over, and he said, I can't believe the wrestling you guys have out here. He says, I'm going to do this every year. So that was pretty neat. And then after that, I did go to Platteville. I was recruited by the coach that was the head coach for Racine Park, who won the state tournament my senior year. Then he went to Oshkosh as the college coach, recruited me to come up there, but I told him I couldn't afford to do it. I had a family of 9 kids. So then when I graduated or left here with my associate's degree, he happened to get the job at the UW. So he recruited me to come down there. And it wasn't called a preferred walk-on at that time, but it was basically the same thing. It said if I came down, if I made the first squad, I would get my scholarship. I did make the first squad, like my brother said, but then I also had gotten married that summer and just decided I couldn't do both. So I just proved myself that I could make the squad, and then I pretty much gave it up. So then after that, I came home because we ran out of money, and then I commuted to Platteville and graduated. Then I went and I worked for the engineering department at Wick Homes for 13 years. Then I decided to do a career change, and I helped Tom Hauber actually for a couple of years run the bowling alley. He wanted to know if I wanted to help him out, and I did that. In the meantime, I kept my eyes open for something that was more in line with what I went to school for. So then I went and worked for an environmental engineering firm in Madison called RMT, and they have since been bought out by a company from Massachusetts, and I've worked between those two companies for the last 29 years. Right now I'm semi-retired. As of this year, I went 3 days a week, and I'm going to do that for another year and a half, and then I'm going to retire completely. So.
Well, you look good in this coat. Congratulations and best wishes.
Well, thank you. This is quite an honor, and I really appreciate it. So, thank you.
Dick Marshall is now a part of the Hall of Honor here at Richland Center High School for wrestlers. Congratulations, Dick, on a well-deserved award.
Well, thank you, Ron. It is a very nice award to receive, and it was actually very nice to be able to receive it with my brother tonight as well, who got me into wrestling, and with Chet.
With the state qualifier night tonight, boy, that was a good group of individuals. I thought to myself, if they were all back in their prime, what a team that group here tonight would be.
Well, that's right. There are some very impressive wrestlers that we had there, and I wish that a lot of them could have accomplished what their abilities. I think they could have went a long way and maybe had some championships here at school.
Sure nice to see Gordy Marchionda here tonight, who was one of your coaches.
That's right. It was very nice to see Gordy. It's been an awful long time, maybe even since wrestling. And, Gordy did help me a lot when I was in the program. And like I said, he really did keep me focused on wrestling and on achieving my goals.
What do you remember most about your wrestling career here at Richland Center High School, Dick?
Well, when I go back to when I was giving my speech a little bit earlier, and all the skills that I had learned from participating in wrestling, and actually in football as well, that's probably what means the most, or what I remember the most, because like I said, I do use that knowledge that I gained from participating to this day.
The discipline that you gained, and I think the professionalism and the integrity of your coaches also was significant. Absolutely.
It definitely had an influence on, what kind of person that I was, and definitely helped me to try to emulate the way they were.
Your parents were you mentioned them in your induction speech, your acceptance speech. They were very much involved in high school sports and loved it, didn't they?
Well, they did. Now, as far as participation, my dad was a boxer when they had boxing then, and he was always went to our events, matches, football games, whatever. And unfortunately, my mom didn't get to go to a lot of them, but she finally did. When I didn't make it to the state tournament, she said, "I'm not going to miss that," and so she did make it there, and it was very nice. They were very supportive and helpful.
Tell us about your life since wrestling, Dick.
Well, so I got married back in 1978 after I went to school at Madison College, and Wendy and we both moved to Madison, and she started her job at Dean Clinic, and I started at the time the company was Marshall Erdman. Well, it's now 39 years later, and both Wendy and I are at the same employers. So that's pretty unusual. We have 3 girls, Lauren, Leah, and Lydia, and they're all graduated from college, and they're now in their careers.
Do you ever get to go to a wrestling match now?
Well, I have not seen probably a Richland Center match since my nephew was in it. Andy Marshall, so that's been quite a few years ago. And in Wanakee, I did help out. I had a neighbor that had a kid that was in youth wrestling, and they had a tournament in the wintertime, and I believe even Richland Center kids attended that, and I did help out with that. But that was probably my extent. Having the girls, I was more going to like drama plays and to the music. So, yeah.
Well, we'll let you return to your family and the seats and enjoy Richland Center tonight. Congratulations. Thanks for the memories along the way, and congratulations tonight.
Okay, I appreciate it, Ron. Like I said, I appreciate the Hall of Fame committee as well for selecting me.